What's up, Mr. Sneak Attack?
Oh shit. Wait, hold on.
Yeah, it's cool. No worries.
That's, you have to do that every single time.
What's that? What's that? Oh, the glasses.
I just changed my name.
Oh shit.
And my that and my name. Hey.
Well,
Hey, Tasha the Greek. How you doing? Thank you for having me.
there you
It's a
go.
pleasure to be here to talk about how we're all gonna die
Yeah, man. So check this out. We just
in
talked
a
about
hot in a fiery hellscape. All right. Yeah.
if shit couldn't get any worse, Nick. We were thinking back in the day,
No.
sooner or later in the future, marijuana, cannabis is going to be legal. It's going to be growing on the streets. It's going to be just growing on the trees, and you could just walk down the street and pick it off the trees and smoke, and no one's going to give a shit. And it's kind of started a little bit. You can smoke weed on the street, and a cop is probably in New York City, and a cop is not going to bother you. Yep, yep. But did you know, Nick, that the Department of Justice says marijuana use, which Joe Biden thinks should not be a crime, nullifies the Second Amendment? What the fuck is going on? So if you got weed, you can't have a gun. What the fuck? Are they going to come for our weed or our guns? I don't have a gun, but I don't even understand what anything has to do with anything, except they're probably going to be coming for your money, for your taxes, for the taxes they think that people are making off the weed, I guess. Fuck, they should have fucking made weed
Yeah.
a thing like 20 years ago, and they could just make money on the weed by just letting it be legal, and then the government could fucking run that thing. But anyway, so should I read this shit? The fuck?
If you want, yeah, because it could just be a whole bunch of malarkey. It sounds fucking ridiculous. It sounds ridiculous. I don't know how you could all of a sudden refute a amendment, the Second Amendment. Oh, because of weed, it doesn't make any sense. How the two are correlated at all does not make any sense to me. If you can still consume alcohol and own a firearm, I do not see at all why marijuana use would be an issue at all.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Very good point. If you have more than like X amount of alcohol in a given week or whatever, they could come up with some fucking bullshit that you can't, which would make more sense for the alcoholic than it would for the alky than it would for the fucking
Sure.
stoner. But so obviously, I didn't get
Yeah, of
this.
course.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I read this, I didn't think about because of my white privilege. That's for another time. But I didn't think about the implications when I mentioned it to you. You said something that didn't occur to me.
Yeah, and it's one of the first things that I thought of, and it seems pretty obvious. And everyone smokes weed. Everybody smokes weed, but at this point, but not everyone is punished for smoking weed. There is one group. There are a couple of groups that are more harshly judged than others. So I was thinking, which is, I'm sure many people are thinking it, that it's just an excuse to target people of color, like they've been doing already, like they already do, and will always find a way to do so.
What are they going to do?
That's
Like,
exactly what that is.
yeah. So they're going to like target black communities, and then so
Yeah.
they're gonna jump you in your house, try to find a gun,
Yep.
and then do what? Like triple prosecute you? I don't
They'll
understand.
kill you.
Well, yeah, they will kill you.
They
That's no
will
doubt about that.
kill you. They will straight up kill you. Even if you're allowed to have the gun, they will kill you. It's like they're looking for a reason to just be violent and to just execute their power because they know they can get away with it. We've seen it time and time again. All these cops kill people unjustly when
Yeah.
they could have, that's a whole other argument. But it just seems like another excuse to persecute people of color, and it's ridiculous. And you're gonna make marijuana legal so across the board, and now say uh it's just crazy. It's really crazy. It's really crazy.
I'm going to
It's
read a
crazy.
little bits here to understand where they're coming from, right? Because
Please.
maybe we're both jumping the gun. I know we're not, but let's see. President Joe Biden. So Joe Biden, number one, goes
All right.
against what he said as his fucking. What was he going to say? He was going to be very lenient on drugs. Or he was going to make pot legal. But the people, the Department of Justice, on the other hand, says they haven't done anything yet,
Supposed to
but
do
they're
ayahuasca
saying,
together.
huh?
Me and Joey B were supposed to do ayahuasca together. Motherfucker did out on me.
Yeah,
He got my vote, and then he fucking bailed.
yes, and now he
And
wants
now
to
I'm the fool.
yeah, and he wants
No.
to put us in jail. I guess,
Yeah.
or just take. So I guess if you own a marijuana plant, you can't have a gun. It doesn't. I can't even understand how where one goes to the other. But I'm not a mastermind, a degenerate criminal mastermind like probably the people in at the Department of Justice. So if they feel like they can put more black people and brown people and poor people in jail, and in red states
Mhm.
too, I guess, since the whole system seems to suddenly be gearing towards like this thing against Republicans. So, it feels like since it's Joe Biden's Department of Justice, let's assume they have Joe Biden's thinking, which is to keep Democrats in power and probably give them. But not that I give a shit about either side.
But
And
is that what he thinks, though? I
say,
don't think he believes that. I think he said himself that Donald Trump might be the next president of the United States. He said that recently
yeah, he thinks he can win. Basically,
at a press conference.
he's trying to scare people, man.
Which have you ever heard that before? Have you ever heard that before? That's crazy. He's basically admitting a potential defeat years before, although it's right around the corner. It is right around the corner.
Yeah, it's only
Jeez, wow, it
less
really
than
is.
a year away.
Here.
Hey,
Oh my gosh.
let me read this so that we get a clearer picture because I took a quick look. All right, and it says here, so under federal law, it is a felony punishable by up to 15 years in prison for an unlawful user of a controlled substance to possess firearms. Okay, so my brain started going. This has less to do with pot and more to do with the guns. Possibly. So let's say
Mhm.
you do own a gun, right? And now you have some weed on you, but your gun is legal. Now,
Mhm.
does it become an illegal firearm because you possess a controlled substance? I'm going to continue, sneak attack. The ban applies to all cannabis consumers, even if they live in one of the 37 states that has legalized medical or recreational use. That disability,
Wow.
a federal judge in Oklahoma ruled last month, is not consistent with this nation's historical tradition of firearm regulation. The Justice Department recently filed a notice indicating that it intends to appeal the decision against the gun ban for marijuana users. Their defense of the ban relies empirically and historically dubious assertions about the sort of people who deserve to exercise the constitutional right to keep and bear arms. Now, let me say this, dude. So after I
Who are
read
those
this,
people?
yeah, who are that? That's true, but I
American citizens.
correct.
Every American citizen. That's who.
Maybe this is more of an attack against.
Every American citizen. We all have the right.
Hey, so when I read this, right,
Mhm.
I said, let me jump over to Reddit because Reddit has a nice search engine. And I popped in Department of Justice and marijuana. Okay. And remember, I told you this, so I'm going to just refresh your
Mhm.
memory, and I'm gonna click on this link about. So all of these, the search engine has brought up things from 6, 7, 9 years ago, but something from 8 days ago. Um, Wait a minute, let me find it. Let me find it. I'm sorry. I just, if you remember, you do remember what it was, but let me find it. Sorry, dude. Okay,
No, please, 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 please.
this is from 6 months ago. Sneak attack. Department of Justice. Marijuana users are quote unquote dangerous to trust. West Central Florida.
I mean, what a loaded statement. That's crazy. That's a crazy thing to say. When my grandma smokes weed. I love that lady. What a crazy thing. What
So
a crazy thing to say.
it's coming out of Florida. No one said anything in this thread. All right. This thread was posted in I'm not sure what subreddit. Okay. I am going to click on this link to see where is this from. It's from spotonflorida.com. Department of Justice users are dangerous to trust. You could see it right there. And there is some sort of WNBC and Channel 8, WFLA Florida. Let's click this. I accept your fucking cookies. Okay. All right. I'm not clicking on this video, but I don't doubt that was said. That's pretty bizarre. I don't know why marijuana users would be considered dangerous to trust. They seem like to be the most peaceful fucking people. I would say alcoholics and
They don't want you to
alkies.
trust anybody.
Huh?
They don't want, yeah, right? Really, they don't want you to trust anybody though. They don't. And if you watch the news, there's not a single person that you can trust. You need to stay in fear and order all of your food on Grubhub and make the guy leave it at the door. No tip. You just leave it at the door. Avoid all eye contact. You cannot trust anybody. That's what they want you to believe. So to say that, however, I'm curious to. I mean, I don't think anyone really knows the percentage of Americans that use marijuana recreationally or medically. But what a crazy thing to say. What a crazy thing to say. God forbid that people who own guns would also own a plant that would help pacify them, that would help keep them calm, they're level-headed.
Yeah. Right away, I see.
Oh, it's crazy.
I see so many reasons. So they're making cannabis out to be like they're stigmatizing and they're making it out to be very, very bad. Where generally the consensus these days, not only just the consensus, but we understand now over the last 100 years that it's been a war on cannabis. There's been a war from the paper companies, and then there was a war from the government. It's just a big fucking lie. It's not a distraction. It's a goddamn lie. It's a big giant lie. And let's shoot over to this conversation that Kim Iverson had the other day, right, with Jesse Ventura, who talks about cannabis as well. You want to hear that? I got it right here. All right.
Please.
Yeah, man, we're gonna hopefully not get in trouble for this. Here. Do you see it?
I believe in contracts.
No, yeah.
MSNBC. My wife of 47 years, about a decade ago, developed epilepsy seizures. She was seizing 2 to 3 times a week. And these were the kind of seizures where she's on the floor, you're holding her head, you don't know if she's going to keep breathing, swallow her tongue, you don't know what's going to happen. 2 to 3 times a week. Now, here we go. We go to the doctor. The doctors put her on 4 different seizure medicines, one after the other, after the other, after the other, because they all failed. Every seizure medication she took had horrible side effects. In desperation, we had read about how little kids' seizures were being helped by cannabis marijuana. We drove to Colorado, where they had lifted probation. You could get it medically at the time. We had friends there. They went in and bought it for us. My wife had a seizure the night before in the motel, getting there. She got there. It started with 3 drops under the tongue. I can tell you this, Kim, she has not had a seizure since.
Stopping it there. Could you hear that? I'm sure you could.
Incredible. Does Jesse know that he can't trust that bitch?
He can trust
according to that. No, he can't trust his wife, dude. She uses cannabis. She uses marijuana. She
Stop.
is not to be trusted. She
No,
is
no, no, no.
dangerous.
Oh my God, Nick,
She is
stop.
a danger to him.
Oh my God, sneak attack. Do not do
I
that.
mean, that's what they're saying. The DOJ. You listen
Oh,
to the
that's
DOJ, that's what they're saying. This this woman that is suffering from seizures, a cannabis user, a marijuana user.
yeah.
This person is not to be trusted. It's crazy.
That
It's
is
crazy. And that's another connection right there. And why? Because they'd rather give you big pharma's those all those pills that have all these horrible side effects. That so you just have to take more pills to combat the side effects. You're just always suffering. They just want you in a constant state of suffering. So you're always reaching to them and giving them everything you can, so you just don't have to suffer anymore. When you could just be smoking a little weed, or not even smoking weed. In her example, and Jesse's lovely wife, I didn't mean to call her a bitch earlier. I was just trying to prove a point.
yeah.
But she's just getting drops. How sinister is that? A few drops of a tincture made from a plant. How awful and untrustworthy. Crazy.
It's absolute. It's
And poor
absolute.
Jesse.
Poor
And-
Jesse. Yeah, I can't believe he's married to that kind of a person that would actually do the marijuana. She's a
Yeah.
freaking danger.
Yeah.
They should arrest this old lady and throw her in jail. Oh my God,
I know.
that's the saddest thing, to be in the quote unquote greatest country in the world, and that you're
Yeah.
gonna get you can't just legislate very quickly. It's obvious that marijuana is cannabis is very useful for so many different types of ailments, and is basically not harmful at all, and is one of the most highly restricted drugs in this country, and continues to have be attacked, and and it's never gonna end, because I believe, dude, I believe one day it will be legal. I believe the government, although the government doesn't really even need money, like they can print their own money, so it does open people's minds. Okay, going back to the old school idea of what pot does, it opens your mind to new ideas. And whatever it is that your friendly what Joe Biden is trying to do here, and his Department of Justice, whatever is probably, again, I think with that whole gun thing, the Second Amendment thing, they're probably trying to take guns away from people. So just to give them more laws, you know. And then the whole
and beyond that as well,
yeah.
beyond that as well, it's also just, even if it, because they'll never be able to take guns away. They won't be able to do it as long as this country is a country and doesn't, you know, collapse completely. They will not take the guns away, but just the mentioning of taking guns away is scratching, is picking the scab. It is infuriating to a lot of Americans, as it should be, because it's really ridiculous and a violation of our freedoms, what makes this country so great. So it's I mean, that's a huge distraction, very, very deceiving and awful.
Yeah, when I was young, I was very anti-gun, but in terms of gun violence, and I did feel like guns needed to be somehow, and I still do, of course, that guns need to be better, whatever the word is. I'm losing my my ability to speak right now because of that cannabis. But yeah, so now, of course, I understand that why it's so important for the Second Amendment, because our government is slowly turning into this fucking authoritarian state that could at any point try to and maybe the only thing that's stopping them is the fact that we have guns. Not every state, it's not as easy as others, but they're gonna have a very hard time because of the number of guns out there. But going back to the whole pot thing, so, well, yeah, man, it's pretty crazy that these guys want to attack gun owners. But you're saying, now that I look at it, I feel like it's more gun owner stuff. No doubt that this is going to affect Black people a lot. The guys over at the Revolutionary Blackout, where I first heard this, I'm going to put it up here, right? Hold on. There we go. See Nick and CJ from the Revolutionary Blackout. Do you see that on your screen? Sneak Attack.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm going to play a second of this because Nick, the guy on the right, talks about how this is targeting African Americans.
Joe Biden broke his campaign promise when he said he's going to decriminalize marijuana.
I stopped it for 1 second. As you heard him say, Joe Biden broke his promise to decriminalize marijuana. And you see there, it says the DOJ says marijuana use, which Biden thinks should not be a crime, nullifies the Second Amendment.
Do it. And they ran this bullshit story where they say he's pardoning all these marijuana arrests. And we reported, like many others in independent news did, no one else, there were no federal marijuana prisoners that was released because of Biden's program. And this is something that Biden and Democrats and the media lied about. So this is a story. This is a story. The DOJ says marijuana use, which Biden thinks should not be a crime. Why the hell? I think there's a good reason why I put that, because that's the contradiction. Which Biden thinks should not be a crime, nullifies the Second Amendment. Biden says marijuana use nullifies the Second Amendment. So they've been using this to disarm people. And I have a question for you guys. What the hell does it mean to nullify an amendment? The Second.
Did you hear that? What does it mean to nullify an amendment?
That's a great. That is a great question. I don't know how you do that, especially through by having a plant. By having a plant. So it's a war on all fronts. It's a war on all fronts. They're trying to take our weapons away. They're trying to infuriate people, to have people fighting with each other. And it's also a mass war on consciousness. They want to keep people suffering. They want to keep people in a state of fear and suffering. And it doesn't even make any sense. That's a great question. How do you nullify the Second Amendment? You know, it's nearly the first, which is freedom of speech. What all of a sudden, what if you have is that going to be something one day? You know, it's, you know, Biden doesn't think it should be a crime, but if you have marijuana, then it nullifies the First Amendment. No more freedom of speech for you. You know, I don't know how a plant or having a plant by any means should take away your freedoms, your basic freedoms that have been written in the Constitution of the United States, that you're given just by being here. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, I mean, that's been happening forever. So everyone who's in jail, half of them are probably on pot charges, you know, so that's been happening. So that's not even something to say, you know, it never was a thing. But I mean, I understand what you're saying. You're not saying that. You just don't understand how that's even a thing. But again, so that was done with
now that it's legal.
Yeah, and now it's basically, it's not totally legal again, right? It's not federally legal.
Yeah.
So, you know, the one thing that you could say most say that again.
In most states, it's legal in most states, but not federally. You're right. Yeah.
What I find amazing is that most people, if you were to poll them, would say two things for sure, because they come to my brain. I'm sure there's more. A, that pot should be legal. And two, abortions should be legal up to, I believe, the first trimester, right? Something to that effect. And the fact that we're rolling back laws and still like lost amongst the weeds with these very basic things that most people will agree with. Again, I'd say easily like 75 to 80% of the population would agree on those two things, that I think this qualifies as a distraction.
Certainly. I agree. This distraction without a doubt. Of course, because this is not something that they could ever actually execute at all. They're not going to remove second amendments because you have marijuana. It's not simply not something they're going to do. They know they can't do it. So if you know you can't do it, why even say it other than infuriating people, distracting people from things that are actually going on?
Well, don't forget, like if they want, they could cause a crisis. And while that crisis is happening, they could try to insert some sort of a amendment to the amendment. I don't know. That would take away somebody's rights to own a gun, take away their rights if they're in possession. But I think, you know what? I want to look into this more, and we can talk about it on another show after we look into it more, because you know they're going to be coming for your shit sooner or later. You know that.
And they already are. They already are. And covertly as well. They tax the shit out of everything as much as they can, so you can't even buy shit if you wanted to. They don't even want you to have shit to begin with.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like now it would be very hard for someone to be able to make any kind of a long-term plan, saving money, you know, especially now when they're dividing everybody also, right? So people are more single than ever, I believe, in this country. And so it's hard to create a family and a unit when and it's hard to then create wealth and generational wealth and trust into all these other things that I am not educated enough to say or understand. But it's still a very obvious thing. It's pretty freaking obvious that it's all going according to plan. All going according to plan.
Yeah, you could say that. You could certainly say that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because look at us. We're here, and we're not there. You know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, we got to keep talking about it, I think. I think we should keep talking about it and keep and post these videos. And I'm gonna try to pimp them. I hate to use that term, but I'll try to post them on like Instagram and my Facebook
Yeah.
or whatever. And
Yeah.
we should do one of these like every day or every other day.
Yeah.
And keep bringing uh the distractions. I guess we could do the show about I was gonna do like some kind of a stupid saying. I was gonna say something stupid, but I like the idea of a segment or a show. Do you like the show that we can call the distraction?
I like the distraction. I like the people's conspiracy. I like both of them. I would like to use both of them. There could be a people's conspiracy and the distraction within the people's conspiracy, because the grand thing is the people's conspiracy. I believe, because while it is all a distraction as well, there are also other things. There's also the truths in there that you have to dig to find. There's also the things that they're distracting us from, which is really should be the main focus. It's the distractions are so distracting that we even talk about the distractions knowing they're distractions. That's how it's so easy to get swept up in it because it's completely surrounding. All that I ask is you don't ever refer to me as a birthing woman, all right? While my wet market is open and ready for do not refer to me as a birthing woman, all right? Thank you.
Your wet market is open?
My wet market is open. All right. Today I feel like a woman, but don't ever refer to me as a birthing woman. All right. And that's all I ask. And you better remember that. If you ever slip up accidentally, I'm going to make my own video about it, and I'm not going to be happy, and you're going to get canceled. You're gonna get
Holy shit.
canceled. All
Holy
right.
shit.
Thank you.
Hold on,
Thank
hold
you.
on. Let's go. Let's talk about
I appreciate the acknowledgement.
let's talk about that. So you're bringing up male and man and birthing woman. Are you suggesting that I think that you can give birth as a man or as a male?
You even asking me that question is so incredibly highly offensive.
No,
I want to throw something right now.
Well,
But I
yeah.
guess I will indulge.
All right.
You need to know. First of all, you need to know. Okay. If you don't know, you better know. All right. Because if you don't, I'm gonna be pissed. All right. And I'm gonna make a video about it. All right. Then that's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. All right, because I don't owe you or any of the patriarchy any explanation at all. I don't. All right. I am independent. I'm an independent. I'm an independent. All right. And I'm gonna leave it at that. All right.
For such a young man, you are so not woke. It's unbelievable. You don't understand. You don't understand the definition between a male, like a woman, and what a woman is and what a female is. I'm not going to school you here right now, but because we're talking about this, right? I saw a post over on conspiracies.win. Am I sharing that with you? Can you see it? Let me share it with you. All right.
No, not
Here we
yet.
go.
Please.
Okay. You can see it. Right? We're on
Called me a young
conspiracies.win.
man. A part of me wants to freak out about that. Go. All right.
And somewhere over here, so this is not unedited. I think it will be unedited, but I saw a post about man and male and not letting them take it away from you. Let me see if I
At the top? Was it at the top?
yeah, there you go. So
I believe it was at the top.
yeah, you found it. You are a man, not a dude or a male. A warning about the media campaign to erase the words man and men. Shall I look? Do you think there'll be a few N-words dropped?
Hopefully, if we're lucky.
Maybe
we
a few.
should replace man and men with pig
pigs.
and oppressor. That's what we should call them, pigs and oppressors. Really, honestly, I've had it.
No. Oh, take it easy. Take it easy. Take it easy. First of all, I'm going to say I was wrong. We're probably not going to see the N word here, but we probably might see the J word. Okay, but other than that,
all right.
What you just said was hilarious. Hold on, man. Yeah, we're going to get really good at this. I really feel it. So let's see what this crazy person over here says. Two unrelated headlines caught my eye today. Notice how they refuse to use the word men. Cinema, here's the first one. Cinema trashes Dems. Old dudes eating Jello. And here's headline number 2.
That's disgusting.
I don't know I guess they're talking about that lady, Kristen Cinema, trashing a bunch of, I guess she's trashing Joe Biden, saying he's an old man, but she says old dudes. So I'll keep it on point, right? The fact they're not using the word man here. And then the second headline is dudes have been dominating Women's History Month this year.
I mean, what does that even mean? What does that even mean?
You have to be
What does that even mean?
You have to be very conspiratorial minded, to be like, hey, look at this headline. Even though I'm down with being conspiratorial minded and being like, hey, let me think deeper as to what they're saying, right? And here, this person on the Daily Wire, that's a pretty famous fucking thing, right? They're saying, instead of using the word men have been dominating Women's History Month this year, it says dudes have been dominating Women's History Month this year. Fascinating.
Yeah. Fascinating and embarrassing. Who is this Tim Meads? It's really, it's crazy. It's crazy that an official publication, a major news outlet like the Daily Wire, would use dudes as the first word in a title for an article. They should be really ashamed by this. It's incredibly embarrassing. It's incredibly embarrassing. I'm excited. I'd be happy to hear what they have to say about this, because it's like, oh, should men be doing poorly this month? Throughout March, should men just like stay inside and not do their jumping jacks and not, not eat healthy? It doesn't make any sense. What are people supposed to do? It's not a competition. Last I checked, it's not a competition. It's crazy.
You are correct. But hey, so let me read this, right? Because you'll see right away. Happy Women's. This is funny that we're reading something on, but this has nothing to do with really that guy's post. Actually, this is an interesting article. So Happy Women's History Month. With just 8 days to go in March, men have been dominating the month meant to celebrate the fairest sex around the globe. So I'm going to start summarizing. On March 12th, a real heartbreaker, a man who thinks he is a woman in Italy won the Italian Indoor Masters Championship in the 200-meter track competition. Let's see what else.
How is that not transphobic? How is that not transphobic right there?
Hold on,
a real
hold on.
heartbreaker and a man who thinks he is.
Hold on. On this side of the pond, Tiffany Thomas crushed the women's cycling race in New York. Let's see what else. Hold on. On March 8th, the Daily Wire reported that Biden administration had awarded a biological man an award for courage in honor of International Women's Day.
See, of course. Of course. It's the Biden administration. Of course they did that. They want to infuse this. That is a huge distraction. Oh my gosh. They know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. They're just trying to infuriate people.
Do you think this is meant to infuriate and to distract, which I do believe it is? You're right, it is. I'm sorry. You see, they get me every time. But, or could this be a way to continue to, in some people's eyes, kind of make the West and America weak? Like, some people have this idea that there's a conspiracy to basically
well, of course,
make us dumb, make us all basically dumb, and make
dumb and divided.
Yeah, they
because
get me every time.
That is the biggest threat. That's the biggest threat to the system and to the overseers is organization, community, and connection.